Before we begin, let me just start by saying that Cambridge exams can be really important. They can be the difference between finding a place at your preferred university or not, finding the job of your dreams or not, and even being able to live in the country that you want to live in or not. But as a teacher with over a decade of experience in preparing students for these exams, I've found that many students just don't need them. Now, I'm not saying that none of these language learners that I'm about to speak about should ever take a Cambridge exam. No. But I am saying that Cambridge exams should not be seen as a method of learning English, because that's not what they are. So, with that out of the way, who, in my opinion, should not think about taking a Cambridge exam? And are you one of them? Let's find out. This first group of language learners should be relatively straightforward, and they are language learners with very specific needs. Please remember that if you're trying to learn a language to do some very specific tasks in mind, then your lessons should be directly tailored to that. So, if you want to learn English simply to make your life easier when you go on holiday, then tell your teacher that, and that's the sort of English you should be trying to learn. Or maybe you work as a waiter in a restaurant that caters to a lot of English-speaking tourists. Well, your language needs are going to be very specific to your job, and therefore, that's what you should be focusing on. You should not be focusing on trying to pass a B1 exam that might require you to write an article about the environment or to talk about a picture for 1 minute of a man climbing a mountain, because that's not going to help you with your life, and it's not going to help you with your job. So, don't waste your time. Additionally, some very specific professions require very specific English qualifications, and they will not accept a Cambridge exam, even a C2. For example, if you want to be a pilot, don't bother with B2, don't bother with C1. Even if your English is fantastic, don't bother with C2. Instead, you should be investing your time in preparing for an ICAO English exam, because this is what pilots are required to take. So, before enrolling in an English course at a school or hiring a private teacher, make sure your school or teacher is well aware of what your specific goals are. Because if they are not, they may end up enrolling you in a generic B1, B2 or C1 advanced course, and that may not cater to your needs. The second group of people that should probably not take a Cambridge exam is children. And when I talk about Cambridge exams here, I'm not referring to the young learners exams, starters, movers, and flyers. Cambridge offers these exams explicitly for young children, and to be honest, I think they're kind of fun. In fact, Cambridge are actually in the process of launching a suite of computer-based exams for starters, movers, and flyers, and they kind of take the form of a video game. Kids can even make their own cool avatar that will then be featured on their certificate. It's really nice. But the highest level that these exams go is A2. And, well, some parents expect more. I've even been asked by some parents to prepare their 10 and 11-year-olds for B2, and I think this is misplaced. Look, I've taught some exceptional children. Some even speak at a level that is comparable to a mother tongue of their same age. But does that mean I would push them to do a B2 exam or even a C1 exam? Absolutely not. In fact, I wouldn't even give a native-speaking 11-year-old a B2 first exam. No, it's just completely age inappropriate. Parents often have this mistaken belief that they can rush their kid through all of the exams and then say, oof, there we go, English is finished, let's move on. But remember, language learning is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And as a result of that, I kind of think it's the job of the teacher to, well, yes, teach English, but also Ensure that the kid actually enjoys learning English, and as a result of that, they will want to continue well into the future. Now, I don't think preparing 11-year-olds for the B2 First exam is the best way of achieving that. This next group of people that I don't think should take a Cambridge exam is a tricky one. It's learners that have a good level of English but don't understand meta-language. I've taught some adults whose level of English was very good. Communication-wise, they could say anything they wanted to in a way that was very easily understandable by native speakers. In fact, many of these students actually had lived in Britain for quite some time and just wanted a formal qualification of some sorts. So, when it came to exam preparation, their writing was pretty good, their speaking was fantastic, their listening was great, their reading was really good, but then we came to the use of English and we both wanted to die. And so how could I help them with the use of English? Well, we had to do some formal grammar instruction, and we had some problems. Take a look at this keyword transformation here. If a student does not understand what to do, you kind of need to start talking about the passive, or past participles, or reporting verbs, or, I don't know, infinitives. Now, if a student doesn't know what any of these things are, then it can be really difficult, even if they know perfectly well how to use them. And this creates a really frustrating conundrum, because the student can communicate really well. For all intents and purposes, they sound almost native when they speak. Yet certain structures they have used very rarely, and so make some mistakes. And I have absolutely no way of explaining why they've made these mistakes because, well, they don't know what an adverb is. And oh gosh. And so now we've got to spend loads of time from the bottom up, relearning what language is. And frankly, I don't think this is a good use of your time. If you are in this situation, then I would recommend against taking the Cambridge exams and instead looking into IELTS General English or IELTS Academic. The next group of people that I think should probably not bother with a Cambridge English exam is the general English learner. And this sounds ridiculous because it's like saying no one should take a Cambridge exam, but no, that's not quite what my point is. Private language schools. These guys absolutely love preparing students for Cambridge exams. Well, why? Okay, firstly, they provide very clear goals for the learners. Alright, that's understandable. But secondly, these clear goals give you a sort of map. And this map increases the chances of you staying at this language school for a very long time. Seriously, the ideal situation for a language school is to find a poor 7-year-old. Give this 7-year-old 1 year of starters, 1 year of movers, 1 year of flyers, 1 year of A2, 1 year of B1, 2 years of B2, and then 2 years of C1. The kid is now 18. He can go away because we found another 7-year-old. Brilliant. But unless this kid and his parents have a really strong passion for lots of pieces of paper that were very expensive, why would you bother? I mean, forget about the effort involved, just think of the money. Taking these exams is not cheap, and unless you really need them, your hundreds of euros could be spent on something else, like, I don't know, donating to Smash English. Yeah. But more importantly than the money, exams have a very strange effect on classes. Exams are introduced to provide a formal way for people to demonstrate their proficiency in something. However, as exams become more popular and widely utilized, teachers adapt their teaching practices to prepare students for the exam rather than the subject. And in the world of English language teaching, this is referred to as the backwash effect. And now, in English classrooms, instead of performing real-life tasks, reading real-life texts, and examining how grammar is used in real-life situations, you are performing fake exam tasks and reading course book texts and learning grammar rules in isolation, simply because it's in the syllabus and the B1 exam says that you need to learn it, so boy oh boy, you better understand the differences between for and since. Teenagers. Okay, I like teaching teenagers. They're funny and weird, and when a class with teenagers goes well, it goes really well. But at the same time, nothing can be worse than teaching 20 disinterested 15-year-olds. Seriously, it can be hell. And is this because teenagers just don't like learning English? I once had a parent come to me during a parents' evening, and they said to me, "Toby, I want my daughter to fall in love with English." And I realised that this was quite a big responsibility. How am I going to make this 15-year-old girl fall in love with something? God, is that really my job? But even so, the idea of falling in love with a language is strange. Language teachers love a language. Linguists love a language. Etymologists probably love a language. But users of a language don't love the language they're using. Instead, they love things that they can do with the language. And this is what I think teenagers should take from English classes. With English, they can travel the world with less friction. They can scroll through more brain rot on TikTok. They can watch films. They can listen to music. They can read books. They can play video games online with people from all around the world. These are all things that they could fall in love with, not studying grammar rules on a blackboard in a lesson so they can do keyword transformations. And I kind of see it as my job to help them achieve the former rather than the latter. So then, those were the 5 groups of people that I kind of think shouldn't bother with Cambridge exams, unless they have really specific needs in their futures that are going to require them to show their language proficiency in order to achieve those goals. So what do you think? Are you preparing for a Cambridge exam? And if you are, why? Are you doing it because your parents told you that it was the thing to do? Or maybe your teacher told you that you really needed it? Why are you bothering? And are you enjoying it? Let me know. If you liked the video, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, leave a comment down below. My name is Toby, and this was Smash English.